Good evening. My name is Dan Biggs, and welcome to Greece Education Throughout the Ages. Just the mention of the country of Greece makes one imagine everything from the once warring city-states of Athens and Sparta to the great scholars like Socrates and Aristotle. Ancient Greek society gave us the foundations of modern life as we know it: military strategy and defense, the idea of a democratic form of government, and higher education. But how did all this come about? Why would a country, then composed of several city-states that did not get along, come to so heavily dominate early European civilization and lay down the foundations for the great Western civilizations that were to follow? Let's start by determining where in the world Greece is and why its location is important. Greece is located on the southeastern part of Europe and on the northern coast of the Mediterranean Sea. This position allowed Greece to become a seafaring nation with the ability to easily sail to countries all around the region. Due to its location in Europe, the citizens of Greece could easily trade with people from many different countries. As the trade grew, as early as 500 BC, Greece began to establish colonies throughout Europe, Africa, and Asia, established dedicated trade routes between these colonies. The main reason for the trade routes was commercial, buying and selling exotic merchandise from around the world, but a little something extra comes with having trade routes and colonies: the knowledge of the local people. While the Greeks were spreading trade, they were educating themselves in the local culture. They would bring back these new bits of knowledge to Greece and implement them in their own society. Early Greek education was literally influenced by the entire world. Before we dive into the education system in Greece, let's look at a few interesting facts about Greece. The long race some people actually enjoy running, called a marathon, started in Greece. As mentioned earlier, Greece is located on the Mediterranean Sea, giving it hundreds of islands, over 9,000 miles of coastline, and there is no place in Greece that's more than 85 miles from the water. To work us back towards education, though, as recently as the 1950s, only about 30% of the Greeks could read or write. Now that number of literate adults is above 95%. The Greeks had formal education as early as 400 BC. The education system was not free, but it was open to all Greek citizens. Due to the cost, usually only children with wealthy parents could afford a complete education. But lower class parents could send children to school for as long as they could afford. The Greeks invented the study of what we would call a classical education. They would study math and natural science and philosophy and rhetoric, many of the same subjects still taught today. In fact, many of the Greek letters of the alphabet are still used in math and science. The Greeks also derived the golden ratio, a specific mathematical formula that is still in use today, that when applied in architecture or even in current industrial design, produces a very aesthetically appealing form. One of their greatest achievements in ancient education was the creation of the Academy by Plato in 387 BC. There's a direct line from every college or university in the world today back to Plato's Academy. Ancient Greek education is great, but it's also ancient. So how is Greece doing with education today? Let's start by taking a look at how the education system in Greece is structured. Children are required to attend school from the ages of 6 to 15. School is now free and all children begin in kindergarten. After 1 year in kindergarten, students spend 6 years, grades 1 through 6, in elementary school. Beginning in 7th grade, students transfer to the gymnasium, or junior high school, where they spend a total of 3 years, in grades 7 through 9. Upon completion of 9th grade, students are given a choice of attending a lyceum, what we would call a traditional high school, or a technical vocational educational institute. Students in the lyceum will study traditional subjects while preparing to go on to a university. Students in the tech vocational school have a choice of transferring to a lyceum after 1 year or continuing on with the technical vocational education and career. These students would have the option of going on to a vocational type college after high school. Greece is working hard in the area of international best practices. A few things they are doing include integrating new technologies into the teaching process, connecting what is happening in local markets to what is being taught in schools, placing a greater emphasis on foreign language acquisition, and extending the current school day by 45 minutes while working on integrating an all-day school plan. But things are not all good for the citizens of Greece. They are continuing to suffer through a severe economic collapse that has affected every part of the country. This has caused cutbacks to the Department of Education. These cutbacks have taken the form of less teachers, lack of maintenance of school buildings, and lower wages for the remaining staff. But all is not lost. A study by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development has laid out several items Greece can do now, even with limited finances, to help improve their education system. These ideas include improved governance and management of schools, optimizing school networks to be more in line with the rest of Europe, and balancing the teacher workload more evenly between new and experienced teachers. With all that we have learned, can the U.S. benefit by studying the Greek system? I believe we can. I like the idea of having at least two paths through high school. It does not make much sense to think that all students are geared for college. This makes about as much sense as saying that all students will be professional athletes or all students will be auto mechanics. So the idea to allow students to pursue an education that fits their needs, wants, and desires would be a huge benefit to everyone. We should not bar anyone from going to college, but we should not expect everyone to want to go to college either. Maybe we should look back to a system where we provide vocational and technical training to students and get rid of the one-size-fits-all educational plan of today. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed my topic. Are there any questions?